Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hello, you're watching Crime Beat with Rob Charny on May 11, 2016, and my guest today is Sheriff John DeAgostini of El Dorado County. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate you coming in. And as always, if you want to get in on this conversation, we are live today, and you can call in at 530-621-1210. 621-1210 is the number. Please give us a call. The sheriff's here to answer your questions, but we've got some things we're going to start with here and go over. So let's talk about, and this has hit the papers and everything, the county budget and how it stands.
We already got a phone call.
We already got a caller. Hi, this is Rob.
Hey, Rob, are you online right now?
We're live.
I'm not seeing any video.
Oh, where are you looking at?
I just clicked on the hotspot that was in your email.
Uh-huh.
And it brought up your page, and it's like a regular YouTube. I clicked on the little guy inside, the little triangle inside the YouTube, and nothing.
Yeah, we're on, YouTube is not where it's at. It's on live streams.
I know, it's on the OGTV live. I clicked on the hotspot from your email.
Huh. Well,
I'll try it again.
I'm disappointed that you can't get it, but thanks for calling in. I appreciate that, and let me know.
All right.
All right. Well, we started. Somebody wants to watch. Anyone?
Good.
Hopefully he can find it. This all you have to do is go to our webpage and hit the live button and follow the Ustream is what you want to follow. So
Ustream?
Ustream. Yep. So anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about the county budget and how it's affecting your department and what's going on right now.
Well, we'll start from the beginning.
Sure.
Start from
the beginning.
Well, this year's a little different. This year's, I believe I told the newspaper, I believe Kay Reed, who wrote the article from Lake Tahoe News, that right now this is the oddest budget year and the worst budget year that I've been involved with now, six budgets. We're just now having a discussion. A few weeks ago was the first budget meeting. Normally, we start talking about budgets in March, April, February. Our agency, we start monitoring our budget and really working on our budget right after the final budget is approved in September, and really even before that, right after the proposed budget is posted on June 30th or July 1st. So, but in a nutshell, this year, at the presentation, there was given the number of a $7 million structural deficit. Countywide. And then a whole list of unmet needs that the board needed to prioritize as to what they wanted to do. That totaled over, I forget, $25 million. Included in that list was a preliminary assumption or estimate of $2.2 million annual debt service for the new public safety facility, the new sheriff's headquarters project that we've talked about many times on the program here.
Which you're going to talk about again. Which we're not done here.
Okay.
I'll bring it up.
So the $7 million structural deficit was never really hashed out. It was just a $7 million structural deficit breezed over, and then they went right to the priorities of the unmet needs, of which they did, in a roundabout way, prioritize the debt service for the public safety facility, but instead of fully funding it, they lumped it in with a group of other items that totaled more than what it was, what they summed up to. But be it as it may, it is in that priority. And the board, I have faith in the board. They will make the decision down the road, whenever that is. I'm sure that's what we're going to be talking about, to fully fund that project. A few days after that presentation, my CFO, my chief financial officer, received a message from a budget analyst in the CAO's office that of that $7 million structural deficit, $4 million was our share that we needed to cut out of our budget. And, we've had the discussions over the last few years about the the ineffectiveness of across-the-board cuts. They don't work. There's core county functions that need to be funded. There's other things that are nice to have. Just percentages across the board don't work. So to hear that they were already taking a percentage, the sheriff's office percentage of that shortfall was $4 million, 3.995 or whatever, $4 million. First of all, that really bothered me. I'll be honest. My first reaction was, nope, that's our budget. We can no longer be the Bank of El Dorado County. We've taken significant cuts every year. We've returned significant fund balances every year.
Yes. You've been a very good steward.
We've done our best.
Yes.
And we've done, I shouldn't say our best. We've done a very good job. You're right. I'll pat my staff on the back. They do. God bless them. They all work really hard and have worked hard, and we have not reduced service. So, after talking with my CFO and consulting with the undersheriff, and had a long meeting about this is probably not the way to go, especially when we have something as big as this public safety facility looming in the future that we can't jeopardize. And I've said it before on this program, doing nothing is not an option. There has to be something done. This has to move forward. Failure is not an option. Again, let's do what we can to work with the county to see what cuts we can do. So, the unsustainable cuts in services and supplies, that I said were unsustainable, we're going to sustain them again. Though these are going to hurt. These are issues such as, and the easiest way to explain it is our ammo. And this goes for every other service and supply that we have. We can only take so many cuts over time to those line items.
Right.
Eventually, you run out of bullets. You can't keep that up. So we did that. Another thing that we did was we had made an ask for some staff. We significantly reduced those asks. We will still work on a shoestring for all non-essential services. One thing that I cannot do is we did ask, and it still stays in our budget request, is 4 deputies, 3 of which are already here. That is our resident deputy program. Last year in negotiations, the CAO and I met and had a lengthy negotiation regarding funding for those 3 positions. Those 3 positions, I agreed to fund them out of our rural counties money, which is a restricted funding stream that we use for unmet needs, for our own unmet needs. For instance, here in the future, we're going to need a new report management system. The system that we use now is losing market share daily. It's coming up to end of life. We've talked about the need for it, but I know that the county won't plan for it. So we plan for it in those restricted funding streams.
Right.
Something that would be a good tool to have, a very useful tool, is a true mobile command post for major incidents where we can roll this apparatus out and have everything at our fingertips rather than relying on old bread trucks and old ambulances that frequently break down. But again, that's something that I know the county won't plan for, so we plan in these restricted funding streams to increase our balance to the point where we can afford such an item, and then the board does have to approve it, but we go in and we say, okay, we've saved for this, we have it, now we need to purchase it, and we move forward. Well, at the time he agreed. He said that the county needs to pay for those. Those are general fund expenditures.
And this is coming from whom?
From the CAO, Larry Combs.
Okay.
And I said, I understand you, Larry, and you're right. However, that's not been the practice. That's why we have to do what we do. So I was promised at that time that we would come back and we would negotiate those 3 positions this budget year. There has been no negotiation. There's been no discussion. So I moved them into general fund so that we can start planning for our future. And he called me on that, and I hit him back, and I said, no, you haven't kept up your end of the bargain, so we're having to move forward in correct planning, in futures planning. This is the way we need to do it. So back to the budget. We made those cuts. We came up with a number that satisfies their status quo number, and reduced $4 million. Went into a meeting with the assistant CAO, Sean Corley, our law and justice, the CAO's office. They have a analyst, budget analyst for law and justice. So my office, the district attorney's office, probation, so forth. And had that meeting. I was there, my undersheriff was there, and my CFO was there, and we presented that budget. And what I would have expected was, geez, I know this was tough, and yeah, these are some difficult areas that I see that we may have some issues with. It was, well, we're not sure if this is going to be acceptable. I'm going to have to run this by Larry Combs, the CAO. The salary savings portion, we need to get away from that, and I was a little upset at that time because we met their needs.
Right.
And then she made a comment that, and I wasn't going to go into this on the show, but she got me on a roll.
Good.
She made a comment that, and I'm still trying to find $2.2 million in your budget to satisfy the debt service on the new facility. And I immediately jumped up and said, well, that's not our job. That funding doesn't come out of our facility, out of our operations. That's a county facility. We're a tenant. The undersheriff asked her, is the probation chief going to have to pay out of his budget to have his juvenile justice facility that he's trying to build? Is he going to have to pay for that out of his budget? Well, she said no. It just doesn't make any sense, that mindset. But it was very clear that she was of the mindset and had been given direction, or it was of her own accord, that the sheriff's office's budget, our public safety budget, was going to pay for the debt service on that facility. Now, we have said in the past that there are going to be some savings.
Oh, absolutely.
There'll be lease payments that we're paying now for outside facilities. That will help offset the cost. There will be some efficiencies that will be realized. That will help offset the cost. The county vehicle parking, the patrol vehicle parking, and our asset parking in the back will be covered. We're talking about part of the plans is to put solar energy on top of those. That will help offset some of the future costs. But never was the conversation the sheriff's office budget will be reduced in an amount to pay for this debt service. So at that point in time, I was very frustrated. I said, you have our budget. If you present this budget as we have arrived at, you won't see me at the podium at the Board of Supervisors meeting when you discuss it. Meaning that's my budget. And then I received a phone call from Larry that I completely misunderstood what she was saying about where that debt service was coming from. Mm-hmm. And I firmly told him that no, she made it very clear what her intention was. So somebody's being untruthful here.
Right. There's a breakdown somewhere.
Very, very much so.
Right.
And I'm having a very, very difficult time moving forward with further negotiations, knowing this fact now that I'm not being told the truth. So I don't know, Rob. I don't know where this budget is going to go. I don't know whether the facility is now in jeopardy. Right now I'm very discouraged without playing my hand, because I firmly believe in the art of war, and I don't want to give anybody else a tip of the hat of which way I'm going on this.
Right,
but
right.
At this point in time, I'm really taking a step back and see which direction the board is going to take, which direction our CAO's office is going to take in regard to a whole litany of issues: this budget, the facility, selection of a new CAO. I was just noticed now, after I reminded Larry on that phone conversation that I had with Larry, that the county has been talking about the class and comp study for over a year now, and it has yet to even start.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And now, I just received an email, I believe it was this morning, or last night, we're starting the class and comp study. But I have concerns about that because who is controlling the class and comp study? The CAO's office. They could class some of my classifications in my office to an unusable for me to be in so that they're an unusable position for me.
Right.
Or compass out of the realm of competitive hiring practices. So I'm everybody. The purpose of this show is an update on what's going on at your sheriff's office, and I'm trying not to sound like I'm whining because I'm not. I'm very, very frustrated at this moment, and our county is in a very, very critical time. We are just coming into our final budget time, proposed budget due June 30th, and it just really seems like the wheels have come off this bus, and we need some leadership. We need some continuity. We need some knowledge. The last email that I sent back to the CAO's office in some correspondence was the last sentence I wrote was, "This too shall pass." I know we'll get through it. I know we'll come out the other side. It's just at this moment in time, I'm very concerned about the direction we're going. So we'll see.
On the public side, on my side, looking at, and yes, I'm very pro law enforcement. I'm very pro sheriff's department. People point that out all the time, and sometimes they think I don't take a neutral position. But as a citizen looking at this situation, one of my concerns, and I've said this on the air so many times, is particularly the facilities, the new facilities. Having been in your existing facility basically since I moved into El Dorado County in 1982, same building, nothing's changed. It was the jail at that time as well, which it is not now for multiple reasons. And on your budget, it seems to me that the supervisors or the CAO's office is going at the low-hanging fruit. I feel like when I look at what they're trying to get out of you, that $4 million, it's like the sheriff's department's an easy target. Let's grab it from them because we know that they've got all these things they don't need. That's what it feels like.
Well, we've done it every year. I think maybe we played a little bit too nice.
Well, and I think you and I have talked about this. One of the things my concern was that the fact that you were giving back so much that it might come back and bite you. I was a little worried about that, and I did say that. But if they were to add up all the savings in your 6 years as sheriff and look at all the savings that you gave them, that's a huge amount of money that you've already trimmed your budget. So to keep pushing it, again, just as an outsider looking in, to keep pushing that budget, I'm worried, and I'm sure neighbors are worried, that at some point, level of service, you're not there now, I know you're doing everything you can, but at some point, level of service may be affected. And that's concerning for many of our citizens and many of you out there. What bothers me really is that the facility, the new facility we're talking about, has an ability to get a grant to build a facility. Is that right? Is it a grant?
Well, it's a loan. It's the USDA Rural Development Loan. It's a low interest rate. It is a low interest rate today.
Now, right.
2.875 interest rate for 40 years, which is unheard of.
That's free money. It really is.
Well, it's not free. Nothing is free.
No. As a taxpayer,
but it's cheap. As a taxpayer, that's very, very reasonable.
Yes.
And the deadline on that was June 30th. If the county doesn't have its application in by June 30th, then that rate will probably go up, and it may go up significantly. As I understand it, the likelihood of it going back to the 3.25%, which is where it came from, to the 2.875, is the most likely scenario, back to 3.25, and that cost to the taxpayers over the life of that loan is right around $10 million. Right. And I've been told, at first I was told a week or two ago that loan, that application deadline would probably not happen. We would probably not have the application done by then. I called Larry and had a conversation with him and offered up any help that we could provide. I offered up my whole financial division and any sworn staff, because that can't fail. That's a gift.
Right.
And I was assured by Larry at that time that we will make it, John. Don't worry. We'll make it. I appreciate the offer. If we need it, we'll ask. I still haven't been asked, and I was just informed by the CAO, by that same budget meeting with Sean Corley, the assistant CAO, and now a letter from our own CAO that the electeds received this morning or last night, that deadline will not be met. And I don't know. I don't know if the ramifications will be the 3.25. I don't know if that. I don't know. One thing that I have done in a just a hope. The undersheriff came to me a while ago and showed me an article from Economist magazine, where the central bank, or the Fed, are sitting on $2.3 trillion that they can't loan. They can't get out into the community. So they're loaning that at prime to the banks. The banks buy that money at 1.25%. Banks aren't buying that money right now. So I called our congressman, Tom McClintock, and actually I talked to his aide and then talked to another assistant, and said, I got an idea. I don't know if this will work, and I know we're probably going to be told no, it doesn't work that way, but I don't take no for an answer, so there needs to be more research done, because I believe it can work. If the Fed's sitting on that much money that they're just dying to get into our communities to help with this recovery,
Right.
and USDA, through a federal program, is offering this loan at 2.875%, which was prior to that 3.25%, why couldn't Congress, at this point in time in history, and I'm not, maybe set a precedent, maybe not, I don't know, with post-Ferguson, post-San Bernardino, Riverside, post everything the way things are going, and law enforcement is really under the microscope for making sure that our training is the best, making sure that our record keeping is the best, making sure that we are upfront, transparent, competent, knowledgeable, and everything. I think that this would be a very nonpartisan issue if Congress could approve a fund through, so to speak, or a feed through, so to speak, from the Fed through Congress, and offer this to us at a even cheaper rate. If Congress even has to buy it at the going rate, such as the banks do from the Fed, for 1.25, then maybe we can get it for 1.5. Everybody's happy. They're getting that money into the community. We're making law enforcement better. Our economy and our local economy would pick up. And I didn't get no. That's not the way it works. I was told we're going to look into it and we'll get back to you. The young man on the phone said, this is going to take a lot of bit of research, but I hear what you're saying, and it does make sense. And I haven't heard anything yet, and that was just barely over a week. And I'm taking that as good news, because if it was no right off the bat, I would have heard.
Right? Yeah.
So who knows? That's a long shot, but I mean, we're doing everything on our end. The sheriff's office, facilities, Russ Fackrell, that gentleman is a very, very smart man. He's the department head for facilities. He is working his tail off. In the CAO's office, we do have a friend over there, Laura Schwartz, who was our budget analyst for many years. She's a very smart person, and she understands it. And I have no doubt that she could figure all this out if she was given the opportunity to. So we'll see.
So, I love government.
I don't.
I don't.
I don't. And neither do you.
No,
You're
I'm
being facetious.
Exactly.
Very facetious.
I am. And it just bothers me how slowly the wheels can turn. And like you said, in this case, the wheels are gone. And I don't understand it. For instance, saying, being told that we're not going to be able to get that application in for that USDA loan, and we're going to miss that window opportunity at 2.875%, and you're looking at maybe 3.5% later. Why? I mean, what's it take? How much work is involved?
Oh, I was told that I have no idea what it is. People get indicted for doing these things wrong. Well, people get indicted for sheriffs running the jail wrong. Don't throw that liability issue at me. We have a job to do. My agency, we have quite a few large projects that get doled down from my seat. Mm-hmm. And I expect my staff, and from time to time I have heard this, Sheriff, I can't get this done right now unless we do it this way. I can get it done if I have more staff or we put these other things on the back burner. There's a way to make stuff happen. If there's a will, there's a way. And I don't believe, and I don't like excuses for all the reasons that I'm hearing of why this loan is not being, the deadline is not being met.
I don't think there's any excuse for missing this deadline. If again, as a citizen to the Board of Supervisors, I'm going to say, what excuse are you going to give for losing the savings the county can get? And you all know, everybody already knows that facility needs to be built. I don't think there's any question at all about that. We have the land. Let's do what's right. And it just bothers me with government taking so long to do things. And the line is, people have been indicted for this. Just do the right thing. You won't be indicted.
You won't be indicted.
I mean, come on.
It's so complicated. Well, no, it's not. It's fill in the blanks. A loan application is fill in the blanks. Yeah, I'll give them. This one is large because this is county.
Absolutely.
This is government. It will probably be 5 stacks of paper that thick. I get that. But we have people.
Yeah.
Taxpayers pay a lot of money for these people we have.
And they should be doing their job. And as far as I can say, if I was on the supervisors, I wouldn't have any excuse for this. Get it done would be my words to the CAO and on down. Let's just get this application in and get it going. And if all of you are watching the show, again, a call to your supervisor might be a good thing in this case. Let's make sure we get this thing moving forward. So we hear your frustrations. Let's hope that the county does the right thing. Again, like I said, sometimes I just scratch my head at government and why it seems to be that things can take so long when they don't have to be. If they would just run it like we do our businesses, I think things would be a lot better.
A lot better.
A lot better. And
we will get through this. I don't know what the cost is going to be, but
Chris,
we will get through this.
But again, we're going to lose an opportunity, which is going to delay everything again. I mean, it all has a cause and effect.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not dumb. I understand this stuff. You got to get something before you build something. So let's just get this done. This is really crazy, but thank you on that. Hey, let's switch to some of the gun laws and some of the crazy stuff that's going on right now. I know you don't want to really do that, but you want to talk about this Newsom. Lieutenant Governor Newsom's bill, where he's trying to.
The ammo bill.
The
ammo licensing bill, and all that. And I can't remember what he's calling it. Something probably safe neighborhoods or safe schools or something.
I got it here somewhere.
I just had a friend the other day, and you and I were talking about this before the show. I had a good friend of mine who I trust. Ran into a couple signature gatherers at a local establishment here in our county. And question them about that initiative.
Right.
They were gathering signatures for that initiative. And they assured him that, this doesn't apply to you. This is only for people that are buying 10,000 or more rounds of ammunition at a time. That's an outright lie. That's voter fraud.
Yeah.
And it has been reported. But I don't know if
what's going to come down to. One of the interesting things, ladies and gentlemen out there, I want you to understand that we're not just, NRA, CRPA, GOC, all those guys. They're not just sitting there beating their chest saying, "Hey, this is wrong." The California's Coalition for Civil Liberty announced that the largest enforcement union joined in the opposition to Newsom's bill, and it goes on to talk about all the law enforcement groups in California that are against what Lieutenant Governor Newsom is doing. And you got to understand, this is unusual for a law enforcement group to go against a situation like this. But we have the Association of Deputy District Attorneys, California Correctional Peace Officers Association, California Fish and Game Wardens, California Reserve Peace Officers Association, California State Sheriff's Association, Law Enforcement Action Network, Law Enforcement Alliance for America, San Francisco Veteran Police Officers Association, and the Western States Sheriff's Association. They're all against this. And, if you're a gun owner, and it seems to me, and we talked about this off air a little bit, but there have been more anti-gun legislation coming through right now.
This year.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
It's just, when is the Second Amendment going to be listened to? When are your rights going to stop being taken away? I know gun owners have been fractured throughout time here, but once again, I'm going to be sitting here saying we need to get together and we need to oppose this. And every one of those either ABs or SBs, whatever coming down the line, sometimes addressed as one thing and really is another. We got to get these stopped right now, because this is going to go on to affect your safety and your ability to protect your family's safety if we continue the way things are going. Because guess what? Criminals, what don't they do? They don't pay attention to these laws. They could care less. They want you to be unarmed. It's much easier for them to get to you. So we've got to spend some time and do that. But anyway, I wanted to mention that when the organization that the California State Sheriff's Association is a big one. And
when you can get 58 sheriffs on a gun initiative to come to a consistence or an or a Second Amendment issue, that's huge. And this was a very easy decision by California State Sheriffs, because as the president at the time when we made the vote was Martin Ryan in Amador County. Now the president is Donnie Youngblood from Kern County. For Martin Ryan to stand up and say, basically, we're tired of these laws that do absolutely nothing to protect law-abiding citizens other than making average law-abiding citizens into common criminals. That's what they're doing. He said it's time we draw the line. And we have. California State Sheriff's Association took a unanimous stand against this, and our representative to Western State Sheriff's Association, John Lope, who I was at the conference when he brought it up, and we answered a few questions about it to the Western State Sheriff's Association, and they also agreed and stepped up and strongly opposed it. So,
and that's just one of many. And I wanted to get to, I guess I left the paperwork somewhere else. I had a gentleman who took my CCW class, and one of the things, of course, they want to make sure that they don't break the law in a way, shape, or form. And he posed an interesting question. He said that, and we're talking about the one of the other bills that's coming before our Senate in California is making all high-capacity magazine, any magazine that can hold more than 10 rounds, illegal.
Period.
And nothing's grandfathered in.
Period.
If you have, like many of us, we've owned magazines that we bought legally when we bought them at the time, and as it is right now, they're grandfathered in. But this bill coming across is going to make it illegal for us to be able to even obtain a license or permit or anything. Them. You can't even possess them.
Nope.
Not at all.
No. I know. That's ridiculous.
And so one of my guys, he said to me, okay, so I bought this Glock 17,
20 years ago.
Yeah, totally legal, high-capacity magazine. He says, what happens if I have that magazine in my gun now? And I got pulled over, and I have a CCW, and the guy goes, hey, you got a high-capacity magazine. We're going to chop you on this thing. He said, so what do I do? And, my answer, and when I've gone to, just because I want to avoid any issues, is if you're going to carry out in the street, carry a 10-round magazine. I mean, because unfortunately, not every officer out there understands the law. And many of them may even interpret it that any large capacity magazine right now is even illegal. You don't know.
Well, ours better know better.
They better know better. Yeah, and let's hope
3-band mags are completely legal.
Yes. So, I mean, I've had the same thing. Guys go in the range. Oh, I'm worried to take my ledge caps out. And I go, why? What are you worried about? You know, you had them when you bought this gun 20-some years ago. There's no problem there. But anyway, that's just another example of what the stupidity that's coming down. And there was a picture that went out about one of the politicians. I won't name him out here, but he actually made the statement on the ammunition bill. He actually says, "Why do you need more ammunition than the gun holds?" So I was
and we just laugh. I mean,
flabbergasted.
to us, we don't understand it. We laugh. It's comical.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
One of the replies to that is, you don't buy toilet paper by the square, only by what you need at the time, do you? I mean, it's the same idea.
I bet you go to Costco, you buy a pallet.
That's right. So anyway, that's just some of the stuff. I want everybody out there to pay attention a little bit of what's going on. It's coming
please
down
do.
the pike fast now, and you got to make those phone calls, and you got to get it stopped because it's stupidity.
A real good resource that I use, and I think we've mentioned it on this show before, I don't know if I have, but a real good resource that even I use to stay abreast is CRPA.
CRPA?
Their website, they have a leak right at the top that I believe says legislation,
Mm-hmm.
and it has some other drop downs. It's current legislation, and it will give you the good, the bad, the ugly. It goes through all of them. They're rated green, red, black, blue.
Yeah, there's different colors.
different
Most
colors.
of them are red.
Yes,
There's
yes.
one green, I think, now left, and it's and also Calgun Organization also has a great website, and they do a good job
Yes.
of lobbying in California too. Spend the time to go hunt them down. I'm sorry that nobody called in today. Hopefully that everything went live. We'll do this again, another live show. We always like to get input from those of you out there, but we've run over our time as it is now. And as always, visit our website, and you'll find out more about what's going on with Crime Beat. So with that, I'm going to close, and I'm going to say, I'm Rob Charny. Thank you for watching Crime Beat and Old Guy Tech TV. And don't forget to watch Real Flicks Reviews on our network. Just check out our website for other shows that we do. Again, John, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Rob.
Appreciate it. And thank you for those of you out there.